Now, there are a multitude of cases that were done in the Supreme Court that involved education before this case of Brown versus Board of Education. But Brown versus Board of Education is probably the most famous case when it comes to public education and integration. Linda Brown was a young student trying to go to Sumner School as for elementary students, all right? And the Brown family lived near Sumner Elementary, and Linda Brown could easily walk to Sumner. Well, Sumner was the all-white school. And, of course, at the time, and once again, Kansas was not supposed to be considered a southern state, but they did offer segregated classes. They offered segregated schools. And Topeka Board of Education said, nope, Linda Brown, you're going to the all-black school that's 3 miles away from your home. And Mr. Brown sued. He said, that's ridiculous. Mr. Brown sued, and he was able to get a very prominent lawyer by the name of Thurgood Marshall to represent him. And Thurgood Marshall was part of the NAACP. And Thurgood Marshall would eventually become a Supreme Court justice. But Mr. Marshall was able to argue with great tenacity and with great purpose how segregation created an inferiority complex within African American students. He was able to use the doll technique, where he basically had a set of dolls that were out and about, and he had white children and black children point out which doll they wanted to play with. And all the children chose the white doll, even the African American students. And this was actually perplexing. And it said, why did the black students choose the white doll? Well, because they had already been ingrained to them that this is what was viewed as superior. This is what was viewed as beautiful. And anything that was considered African American, that was inherently inferior. That was inherently wrong. Thurgood Marshall was able to prove that segregation had created an unequal environment, and also created an inferior environment and inferior thinking for African American students. He was able to prove that very well. And the Supreme Court justices agreed with him in a 9-0 unanimous ruling that segregation in public schools was unconstitutional. It violated the 14th Amendment, violated the Equal Protection and Equal Rights Clause. And now public education was to be integrated. It's safe to say that people in the South were not going to accept that very well, were they? And they certainly didn't. And we'll talk about their resistance towards this in a few videos.